It's 40 degrees over here. That's why my hair looks like I've been swimming. 40 degrees.
Is it just a sweat back?
No, I went
style?
swimming. I went down the beach. I thought I cannot survive if I don't go swimming first before I do this. I will die on the spot.
Oh, I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
check that
Did you
temperature
do
on
your
my little weather radar.
I know. Well, it's so good to see both of you. Like, I'm so excited about this. Like, we've had like insane amounts of registration to this, so it's obviously on point.
Yeah, that's, you know what, that makes my heart really happy that women, you know, that there's so many of us going, yes, let's tune into this, let's have this conversation. It's a good sign.
Well, we have done not a single Facebook ad, like no Facebook ads. We've done no hardly any marketing. We just let our listeners know in a few Facebook groups. We've got 142 register. So I think for the rest of the series this month, it's great to see women keen to do this. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I think us too.
Well, on that note, let's just get started, and rather than hear me waffling and have male privilege like that. So thank you seriously for coming, and just so everyone can know what this is about, I've been working with Jen for a long time now. It's like we're old friends, part of the furniture. And basically, yeah, all I can say is both these two women are extraordinary. I just love working with them. I've been working with both of them as clients. They do an incredible amount of good to help people. They live what they preach in terms of their finances. They've got good, stable relationships in their life. And yet somehow, in the midst of all of that, they're able to go on, make good incomes, run businesses, and do stuff like that. And how women do this stuff, I don't know. If I have the pain tolerance of a rat, you know, if I was ever had to give birth, I'd die, no question. And if I had to raise kids and run a business, I would not even come close. So sometimes I very soberly and very, you know, with my head bowed down, admit that maybe women are the superior species after all. So all that said, getting on, I'll let them introduce their own background, but really it's all about, and Jen and Nicole will share some of the issues. It's like, for example, I was shocked to hear, but one of the fastest growing, and you know, can be corrected, you know, if I'm wrong, issue of homelessness happening right now is women over 50 who suddenly wake up, they've had, you know, like their marriages have ended or their kids have grown up, and suddenly they have put so much time in their families, they don't have the funds to cover things. And it's a huge problem. And so I was like, yeah, we've got to do something about this. We've got to get out there. And I know this work that Jen and you know, Nicole are doing is a mission. It's something to really teach women to wealth. They do a lot of good work with that. They run programs that really help women. Well, I've spoken to quite a few of their clients and they rave about them. And so really, I'll just let you guys take it from here. And I know today you'll be introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about the money code and the unique problems to women. Did I get anything wrong or miss anything?
Well, Warren, I'm going to let Nick go first, but just to say one thing, I don't think anyone's going to disagree with you when you say, you know, women are the superior species. I think, you know, you've probably got a lot of love going on there. But you know what? No, you know what? We're not, I wouldn't put us in the feminist category at all. We both love the men in our life and we love working with men as well. And, you know, as we've talked about so much, we all have so much to offer and to share, and collaborations is such a beautiful thing. And so we're so grateful to.
And don't, sorry to interrupt here, but I mean, I know that one of my staff, Jen, saw your husband. She's going, he's like hot. Like, so you guys not just got good men, you got hot men, you know, kind of.
Oh, they've got to stay in shape. We've got standards, Warren. We've got standards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know me being a pole dancer kind of means I'm a bit out of everyone's league, but you know, it's still.
I know. Well, we are thinking of flying over for your next show, Warren. So you never know who might turn up.
You never know. It could be scary. Yes, I do. By the way, ladies do pole dancing. It started as a joke, and now I actually do it. It's pretty funny. But anyway.
Well, what shall we talk about? What shall we do first? How do you want to lead into this great conversation? I feel like we're going to have a really juicy conversation about, you know, where things are at and what's possible. And I don't know, we could go anywhere. We never know where these conversations are going to go, do we?
Well, let you guys lead it off. Nicole, you lead it off. I think. We'll throw it to you.
First of all, the fact that there's nearly 150 women registered and you've hardly done anything to do that gives me high hopes, and hope is something we all need right now. So let's start there. And you know what? Jen and I, like, obviously, Jen, we do a lot of training and a lot of calls every week, and we work with different women in different businesses. And our training that we're going to go through, like looking at the money code, that is, so I was about to say that's a piece of piss for us to go through in the sense of to train it. The reality is it just is. And I don't need to think about that. And we're going to roll into that, and it's going to be so brilliant. But you know what? I always go for a walk during the day before we're doing certain calls. And I always just think, what is it that needs to be shared on these calls, and what conversation needs to be had, and what message do we need to hear? And then it has me get really present with what's going on in my day-to-day. And given this is for Global Wealth Club, financial independence and financial empowerment month for women, which is so incredible, let's just talk about that as a conversation first, and then let's get into the how. Let's get into the tactical stuff, the steps, the work that we've got to do, the responsibility that we have, the change that we can make. But it always helps to go, but why? Why is that important right now? And, you know, when I think of financial independence, and it had me, and I don't have the book with me, but I was writing down just stats and realities and things going on in our world. And it's like, why is it important? And maybe you're listening in, if you can put your fingers to those keyboard and just write for us, why is it important for you? What would it mean to you? Because if we look at it just from a zoomed out perspective, the big thing that comes up for me, and Jen, let's just, you know, go back and forth with this as a conversation of why it's important, because if we don't know the why behind why we're going to go do something, there's a good reason we're not doing it. There's something getting in our way, because we've never been in a world where we have access to so many things. We have so many opportunities and pathways we can take, yet most women feel so stuck in a cycle, stuck in the stuckness, stuck in confusion, stuck in the same life, same results, same. So there's something missing there. And, you know, I look at financial independence, the big things that come up for me are this. We reduce our dependency on other people or things like the government, people that maybe we feel trapped in, and we increase our control. And really, ultimately, that's choice. That's incredibly important. The other thing, and Warren, you were just touching on it before, was the fastest demographic of homelessness is women 55 and over. I don't know when we let that be okay. I don't know how we still let that be okay. And that's a reality. That's not just I hope that doesn't happen to me. Well, the stats say there's a good chance if we don't change something. And so we want to reduce our vulnerability to these situations, right? Like, I just feel like life comes at us at some point. I don't know if we get out of life without being hit in some way. And yes, we get hit, but then we also get to have beautiful highs. Like, you can't have one without the other. And Jen and I always talk about this, but when you get hit, we want you to be able to breathe. We want you to be able to think. We want you to be able to act, create, make the decisions that support you. And when you are financially suffocated, it's really freaking hard. The other thing is the impact that it has on health. This came up for me. I was actually doing some running today, Jen. I ran 3.5 kilometers. Okay, if you don't know me, huge, absolutely huge. Used to do cross country as a child. Obviously something happened, traumatic experience. Now I don't run much, but I've signed up for this health competition. And so there's accountability in place, all the things that make things happen. And it requires me to lift my standards with running, right? And change my story and all of that stuff. And as I was running, I seen a mother and a son who were incredibly overweight. Now, we'll talk about standards in a second, but the reality is money makes a difference to our health because we can afford better nutrition. We can afford better wellness experiences and circumstances and put ourselves in situations. And not only that, healthy women create healthy societies. I think I can go on, and I do sometimes go on a bit of a, you know, off the path. But Jen, I know you're going to have some things where it's like, let's just talk about why it's so important, not just what it is, the what and the how. It's like, why is it important? And for you. So I'm going to go read the comments while.
Yeah. Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? This is the conversation that so desperately needs to be had, because we're on a slippery slope where being broke, we're struggling to get to the end of the month, every single month, or the end of the week, and have enough money. Where it's become the norm. And it just as being overweight or obese or unwell is becoming the norm. When the problem really arises when we look around and that's our norm. And that's really a standard issue. And we've allowed our standards to gradually lower and lower and lower. And the question that Nick and I say to each other is, well, when will we say enough's enough? When 99% of the world is overweight and obese? When 99% of kids are overweight and obese, when 99% of people can't afford to tolerate a 0.5% rise in their mortgage? Like, at what point? Because it's on a decline, and it feels like it's speeding up. It feels like we're just heading down the slippery slide. And I was in a Facebook group today, and a mama had done a post in there, and she said, can someone please help? I'm terrified. She said, I've got a 4-month-old baby, and my partner and I calculated that I would be able to take 12 months off. And she said, we're 4 months in and we're drowning and I don't know what to do. She said, we didn't calculate the cost of living increasing so rapidly. And she said, we can't afford our mortgage repayments. And she said, I'm stressed. I'm so stressed. I can't sleep at night. I can't even be a good mom. What can I do? And all of these people were commenting and saying, well, don't worry about saving money at the moment, you know, just worry about being a mom and just enjoy this phase, or maybe you get some night work, or, you know, all of these things. But not one single person said, hey, you know what, this is not okay. This is not okay that so many people are in this situation. It's not okay that we accept, like, every single person, and there were hundreds of comments, they all just accepted that that's normal. And I was like, but why is this normal? Why is it okay that this is normal and everyone thinks that it's okay to be this way? And so Nick and I created Women to Wealth because we decided we're going to take a stand, and we're going to take a stand for not only a standard's not going to go any lower, whether it's our health or our wealth, because they're like, it's so entangled. If we can't, what's the point of wealth if we don't have our health? And we can't possibly be healthy if we're stressed and anxious all the time because we don't have enough money, or we can't buy healthy food and we're having to feed ourselves crap. And that was one of the solutions. One of the women said, yeah, I was in the same situation, and I just found we don't eat fresh fruit and veggies anymore because they're too expensive. We just eat bread and rice. It's like, well, how long is that going to last before that falls apart? And so, you know, Nick, it's like we said, not only are we going to say no when this standard cannot go any lower, enough of the slippery slide, we're going to be a voice for saying we deserve better. We can create better. We are so capable, and we are so resourceful that we can create anything we want. We can create any amount of money that we want. We can create any level of health that we want. We just need to choose it, and then create a pathway, and maybe up-level some skills, maybe learn something, maybe, as we talk about a lot in our programs, unlearn some stuff first that we believe to be true and that isn't serving us, so that we can let go of that and we can relearn what will serve us and create the life that we choose, not the life that we think that we get stuck with, that is the life that everyone else has, because we've been sold a whole lot of lies along the way. And we're here to say they were lies, and we're going to tell you the truth. And the truth is that anything is possible. That's my little rant.
I love your rants. You can rant all day long and I will be here every part of the way. as you were saying that, Jen, I think what could be really great, because we can't see anyone, but we can see your comments and we'll always go to them, is I would love you to write if you're open to it and if you're comfortable with it. And this is it's a community, it's a supported private space. What in your life is normal that is actually not okay? The first thing that comes to your mind. No judgment, no holding back. Okay, Fee said my job. Yeah, what in your life has become a normal? Because when we normalize things, we very rarely recognize them, right? It's like when you can go to a town and everyone's broke. So it's like, well, everyone just gets by. Everyone only has 2 weeks of holidays. Everyone comes home and they're exhausted and they can't really spend time with their kids. Everyone's going paycheck to paycheck. We normalize things, and normal just seems very broken right now, which is what Jen was alluding to. It's just broken and we've got to call it. Being underpaid, your finances. What about your finances, Meg? What does it restrict you with that's most important to you? How I allow my employer to treat us as employees. Yeah, it's funny how we'll put so much time into the painful experience for someone else, but not creating our own. Overspending, living week to week. Yeah, I had a conversation. It's funny how conversations happen when they need to. So I had a chat today with a lady in America, a beautiful woman, and she had $2,000 in savings at the age of 39. $2,000 in savings. Something in her home broke. That's been wiped out. And she said, how did I get to this age and only have that? And I said, that's a great question. We need to explore that answer and we need to explore it fast. So everything that you are writing down, and I love these conversations so much, and I think I want to preface it with Jen and I teach this stuff because we preach it, but we practice it. So the stuff that we train, I love because I'm always training myself to do it again and again. I just think that that's our responsibility to do this. But I think right now, what was coming up for me as I read this and I was listening to you, Jen, I'm like, there just has to be a point where we get to a hard stop and say no to shitty circumstances. There has to be a point. It's just a hard stop. It's just a no, because there's an awareness. There's awareness of things, which we're going to talk about today, which is awesome. That this is the first part, the awareness of it. But there's also an acceptance of it. And that's what we're doing. Oh, I'm aware of that. Oh, yeah, I know that. It's not great. Don't really love it. Feel really restricted. Far out. I'm exhausted. Oh my God. Yeah, really aware of this. But then, oh, well, everyone's like that. That's okay. So when are we as women going to say, hey, I'm aware and I'm no longer accepting that? Because that is up to us. I've always been broke. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the comments, and that's, thank you. I just want to say a big thank you for sharing.
You know, Nick, I think here's a really good time as everyone's thinking about what's really not okay. And this is something that I struggled with for years because I grew up in a family that never had any money. We didn't even have a toilet that flushed. It was, you know, kind of kick some toads on the way out in the dark and go to the Thunderbox. And it was really embarrassing to bring friends home to say, actually, we don't have a toilet that flushes. I'm really sorry, because no friends wanted to come stay at our place. And fair enough, I get it. It was pretty stinky out there. But the thing is, you can be grateful for what you have and want more. And I think a lot of women get stuck right there because we think if we want more, that it means we're not grateful for what we have. And that's not true at all. And so I think thinking that wanting more means we're not grateful stops us wanting more. And because we go straight to, well, at least I'm not in a third world country. At least I don't have to walk 10 kilometers just to get water every day. You know, at least I don't live in a tent. At least I've got this, at least. And that's how we justify the situation. That's really not okay. And we think that it's not okay. So I grew up thinking that it was greedy to want more than I need. And it took a lot of work to really bust through that belief and realize that that belief is not true. It was my truth, and it was keeping a ceiling on my bank account for sure. And that was keeping a ceiling on the freedom and the choice I could have and the impact that I could make in the world. But when I realized it, someone said to me, a mentor said to me one day, he said, but Jen, he said, don't you think it's selfish? He said, are you going to spend your whole 80, 90, 100 years on the planet and only ever learn enough to earn enough to look after you and your immediate family and just scrape by. He said, don't you think that's selfish? You've been born in a first world country with access to everything that you want, everything you could ever possibly need. You can achieve anything in the world and you're just going to just scrape by. He said, well, I don't know about you, but I think that's really selfish. And it really just hit me like a punch in the face. And I was like, yeah, that's not what I want my life to be. That I want to make a difference in the world. And to make the difference that I want to make, I need to make so much money that there's plenty for me, but there's so much more. So when someone needs a hand, I can say, here it is. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, we can be grateful and want more.
That is it. I think it's, and we say this all the time, but the power sits in those two things, gratitude and desire, coexisting. Like they coexist, and that's where it's so powerful. And as you were speaking, and this is why, you know, we're going to go through the money code training as step one. But the other reason this is so important is we are, like, we're naturally nurturers as women, but we're also freaking creators. Like we are the creators. And a thing that Jen and I will continually say, and, you know, if women are in our program, they'll know that we go on about this, but the dreams and the desires and the ideas and the intuition, the stuff that you have inside of you, it's there for a reason. It's there for a reason. And if you're on this call, if you're in Warren's space, if you're in our space, you have to have a deep knowing of that. You just have to. So now we just need to figure out the how and stay the path and not accept the shitty standards, remember? Like hard stop. So you get to decide, when am I putting a hard stop to shitty circumstances? And I think we all just need to decide that together and start this movement, because it's going to be a beautiful one. Jen, I might share my screen. Warren, I'm not sure if you've given permission, but I might do that. Do we want to jump into the training now? Is there anything else you'd love to cover off, or?
No, just get straight on with it. This is like amazing.
Okay. Well, Jen, if there's anything you want to add or set up, I'm just going to share the screen and make sure.
I just have to say, this is like, wow. Seeing the comments, I'm going like, I'm getting really educated and going, definitely hit the mark. This is like so different, you know, the needs that women have compared to men. And it's important that it gets addressed. It's great.
Yeah. Can you guys see that okay? Is that coming up?
It's kind of like half. It's like it's too big for the there. That's better, I think. There you go. That's good.
That's it.
No.
Oh,
Got to go small. A bit small. Yeah.
hold on. What am I doing here? Oh, tech. Okay, you guys continue on with a fabulous conversation. I'm going to try and get my tech skills sorted, and I'll work this out.
So I think one of the things while Nick's working out the tech that Nick and I harp on about, there's some things that we really harp on about, but one of the things is really getting clear on what we call our nail, where we are, that we really aren't that happy with. If we check in with our gut and we check in with our heart and we think about our whole entire life, and let's assume we have 80 years on the planet. And a friend said to me once, Jen, draw a grid 10 by 8. And I was like, okay. And then she said, now cross out all the years that you've already lived. So I'm 49. So when you do that visually, and each of you should do this, it's like, whoa, okay. So if I'm only going to, I mean, I hope I live longer than 80 years, but if I only live for 80 years, it's more than half over. And you see what you've got left to go. It's like, I'm going to sort some stuff out before I get there. So really important, so that we have the impetus to get off the nail, we first got to really feel the nail. And we're really clever, we humans, in lifting our butt off the nail so that it doesn't hurt so bad. But when we do that, we take away the impetus for movement. So I really encourage you to tonight, and part of what we train about will will be some of this, but while Nick's getting that sorted, I really encourage you to think about the nail, think about where you are and all the places you feel restricted. And because we're talking about money in particular, think about all the times when money limits you. Like, do you not buy organic food for your family because it's just so expensive? Are you good there, Nick?
Is that okay? Can you guys see it?
That's good.
I've
Yeah,
done
I think that's really good.
I do this enough. I don't know what it is. I think it's like 5 to 8 at night and my brain switches off after a certain time and tech just goes down the drain.
So yeah, so I'll just finish off and then I'll hand back to Nick. But so really make a list like of every little thing. It's so important that you get clear on what's not okay about where you were. And then we're going to teach you the magic of moving forward and away from that. But your brain is really good at lifting your butt off the nail. And we've all tried it. We've all done it. Oh, I'm just going to drink a bottle of wine tonight and not think about it because I've, I've got to get this, turn my brain off and stop it worrying. Or yeah, I look around and I think, well, everyone's in the same situation and somehow make it okay. Or I get so overwhelmed and so busy and oh my gosh, I don't have time to do anything about my situation because I'm just so overwhelmed, so busy. And that's the story I keep telling myself over and over again. Women are so great at that story. These are all distraction techniques, justification techniques to get our butt off the nail, relieve the pain, and that takes away our impetus to make change. But we need to maintain that impetus to make change. So just want to say that some of this is going to be awesome conversation and some of it's going to be a bit ouchy. But we're okay with the ouch because we're in a safe space.
Yeah. Well, if we don't get good with the intentional ouch, we got to deal with the default ouch anyway. And I think that's kind of part of it, right? I think it's really cool that we're all here and having this conversation. I know women are listening to a recording and hopefully more and more register. And this conversation is just important to have because we either go after what we want to design or we do just get what we're given. And that's why part of one of our steps that we're training is it's starting more with the money code, being the mindset, being the energetics, being what is behind everything that you do. Because there's a good chance that if you continue to get, and I was in this, I say it because I know it so well, in that position where it's like, why do I continue to get the same results? Why does my life look the same? Why can't I go past this point? Why can I see so many people there, but there seems to just like, what is my gap? What is going on? I'm doing a lot of the do. Tell me what to do. I'm going to do it. Do it for as long as I need. I'll do it double the time. And it was just like, what is the missing link? And so we're going to talk to you about the physical world of the money, but then the non-physical, the stuff that most people, being 95% of people, really miss. And I was in that boat. And so this is why it's so huge that we continually have these conversations and we dive into this, because ladies, we are not born just to get the default life. We get to design it, but it has to start here. So let's dive into the money code and more about, because I don't think if it gets any more important, I would say, Jen and Warren, than this, than really mastering your mindset around money. And we talk about a lot, especially within our program, we train on both of these things because often I've found sometimes you can just be looking at one of them. But it is required to be both. Like we can't just sit there with a crystal ball and go, and manifest and all the goodness comes into our world. Action is required. Like we have to come to the table with forward motion and with action, which are the mechanics. The mechanics are the things. And sometimes, often, we can be looking so hard just for those answers that we're forgetting the big elephant in the room. And we're like, just give me the strategy. Give me the thing. What do I do? What's the plan? What's the action? What's the tactic? What do I put in place? And it's like the mechanics don't work if we don't work the mindset first. And so that's why this is really important because, yeah, sometimes it can be that tangible stuff. You know, women that we work with, often it's like, just give me clarity on the path. I need to know what to learn next, do next, work on next. Awesome. But often it's the mind. It's us, because our mind usually gets in the way of what we know we need to do at the end of the day. Jen, anything that you want to just talk about here before we go into the codes and how to start understanding yours? You good?
All good. Let's keep moving.
Awesome. So this here, maybe take a screenshot or even pause this recording and write some of these questions down. These are really powerful questions, and write them in first person. I know we've written them here like we're asking you. But one thing that I have taught and then been taught and then experienced, and you'll know this, is that our current reality is very clearly showing us what we're not seeing in our subconscious, very clearly. So sometimes we think, yeah, I know that, I've heard that, I've heard that, I've heard that. I know that. But if our life doesn't show it, we don't really know it. There's something hasn't connected, and there's other stuff going on. And our subconscious has the ability, the capacity to pick up so much information. It is continually picking it up, and we're really only conscious of 10% of it. And that's why we can be given the best strategy in the world, but if we don't work the back end stuff, the front end reality doesn't really come to fruition. And maybe some of you, I mean, let us know if you're feeling that. It's just like, yeah, there's like this resistance. I always hit a cap. It's always the same results. And so, Jen, do we want to talk through some of these questions and just maybe some examples that we've had with it?
I think maybe while the ladies are either taking a picture or writing down the questions, this is a great time to talk about the ant and the conscious and the subconscious, because about 15% of our, and most people will know this, about 15% of what goes on in our brain is actually in our conscious brain, and the rest is in our subconscious. And one of the things that women say a lot is, I just keep self-sabotaging. And that's not really the case. So what happens is, especially we've all just been through January, right? A lot of you would have made New Year's resolutions. You've set your goals, which are your North Star. And so imagine that conscious part of your brain, which is the ant, and he's running along to he set the GPS. I know where I'm going. I know what my goals are. Off I go. And it's like, and look to the side. It's like, oh, I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I'm just getting exhausted. I'm not getting any closer to my goals. What's going on here? I feel like I'm sabotaging or something, or I'm hitting a stop, or I'm hitting a limit. And then the little ant looks down and sees that he's running along, or she is running along, a really grey leathery surface. And she takes a better look and she's like, oh, I'm running along on top of an elephant. But when the little ant takes a better look, she realizes the elephant's walking in the opposite direction. And the elephant is the subconscious brain, which has all of the beliefs that you see on that screen and more. And so this is why it's Nick and I call this the real work. And it's the work that most people just don't want to do because they don't understand the importance of doing it. And because when you start to dig for the answers to these type of questions, you will feel resistance, and it will feel uncomfortable because you're not going to like the real, true, honest answers, because these will give you the clues as to what stories and what beliefs the elephant is running, and it's the elephant's getting the results. And until we dig out this, like, imagine the elephant's full of cassette tapes, a whole bunch of stories and beliefs that we've piled up in there over the course of our life, until we go and find them and rip them out and write new ones and put them in. Once we do that, then we can turn the elephant around, and the elephant starts to head north. And what happens when the elephant and the ant are both heading north in the same direction? Well, it feels like, you know, when you're at the airport and you're walking along and you're in a hurry, and then you see the travelator and you jump on the travelator, and suddenly it's like, whoa, like, I just feel like moving is so easy. And, you know, you hear people talk about, oh, a flow and ease, and well, that's what happens. And the reason that you're feeling frustrated and restricted and friction is because your elephant hasn't been told what's going on. Only the ant's been told what's going on. And so that's the point of starting to do some of this digging. And this is just a little bit, right, Nick?
Yeah, and I think what could be helpful, ladies, as I said, take a screenshot, write this down, but a simple activity as well that we share with women to do is, you know, set a 5-minute timer and answer just a couple of these questions sitting with it. And it could be as simple as the question, money is ... and just see what comes to your mind. Just see what thoughts come, but without filtering them. Don't filter them with judgment. Don't filter them with that's right, that's wrong. Don't filter them with, oh my gosh, I shouldn't think that. Don't filter them with, oh, okay, I'll just make it sound a little bit better. It's just, you've just got to get it out. And not only that, then if you go, what's really helpful is just go live your life, but now you're aware of these questions so that they're planted, right? We're planting them in you. And often we are acting in accordance without realizing to what our belief system is. And so even if it's, you know, I went out for dinner last night and it's tipping the waiter, it's simple stuff like that. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and just like, you know, throw your money everywhere. An abundance conversation is a different one. And maybe we'll get into that in this series as well. Like we can't give to a fault or give to stupidity that suffocates us. But it's not about do you tip or do you don't. What's the thought that you have before you do? Oh, I don't really, oh, I probably can't. Oh, like what is it that comes to mind for you? It's little things like that. When you're going to give something, what thought and feeling comes up for you? They're just indicators. These are your money codes. They're the indicators. And so sometimes it's really just helpful to go, okay, let me get really clear on these questions. Let me go live my life. There's the awareness. Here it is. That's real with me. Again, with like no judgment at all. Okay, so I can't see the comments, but hoping everyone's got that screenshot. And there's some really powerful questions. It'd be really great actually to hear from everyone, even as we do this series for the month, like what came up for you in some of these questions. That'd be really great just to hear where everyone's at. So let's talk about the cycle, which is how it works, like how our brain works. So Jen, you speak beautifully to this, but I just want to share the key things that, like, once you get this, you'll understand why maybe you keep trying to knock down the wrong door. Because I kept trying to knock down the wrong door for a long time, because I didn't understand that there really is the physical world, which is where our actions and the results lie. And how often are we just, let's just do more, do. Give me the thing, give me the answer, give me the solution, give me the way, give me the strategy, do. And then there's the non-physical, and this is how our brain really works, is it starts with our beliefs, which are all those things that we've just started going into, which are the indicators to tell you, hey, this is probably what you're believing right now around money. And our beliefs produce the thoughts that we have. And those thoughts, for some of us, they'll be incredibly empowering around the exact same thing. Like money is just a thing. It's just a thing that we've agreed to exchange for value. Like that's all it is, a thing that we've agreed upon. But some people have incredibly empowering thoughts when it comes to money. And some people have incredibly unhelpful thoughts when it comes to money. This same thing. And you can't tell me that your thoughts don't affect your feelings. Because when you have a thought that is disempowering, or it's built in fear and worry and doubt, what is the feeling that comes up for you? And then when we're in feelings, what we often don't recognize is that we let feelings master our actions, which is what we've got to get out of. If we don't even do what we feel like doing, we don't get much done. There's so many times I don't feel like going to the gym. There's so many times I don't feel like doing the extra call. There's so many times I don't feel like learning the thing that's gassing my brain and I can't work it out. But I know I have to do that action. But it first starts with the beliefs. Because if all we want to do is focus on the actions in a disempowering way because of how we feel, because of a thought that was produced, I imagine those actions are going to be done in a pretty low standard way. And maybe you can relate to this. So this was my big thing. I kept going, just show me. Why doesn't someone just show me what to do? I'll just do more of the do. But it was the beliefs that I had. I had beliefs that if I had more, someone else had less. I had beliefs from my dad, who I love and adore, and taught me work ethic, like incredible work ethic my parents taught me. But I made a story and a belief that if you don't work hard, you're not valuable of very good results. So if it's not hard, you shouldn't earn much. If it's not hard, your rewards shouldn't be that great. It has to be hard. And so there's all of these things where it's like, so I made everything so hard. I had the badge of honor, which was busyness, which is such a shitty badge of honor and something that we've created in our society for some reason, the badge of honor of busyness. And so all of these things were just dictating. And so we need to work out, what is it for you that's actually in the non-physical world that's creating the physical results?
Gosh, so much to dissect here, Nick. I think maybe we can use the example that I was using before about the girl who posted in the group with the 4-month-old baby. But first of all, right down there in the left, bottom of the left, there's a pretty big statement in black. And this is really the divider. This is really being able to take this one on, really is what kind of cuts the mustard. So your current belief system has got you to where you are today. Many people struggle with accepting that. And this is about taking 100% responsibility, radical responsibility. Because if we don't own our circumstances, that means we're giving our power, if we're blaming someone else for our circumstances, we're giving our power away. We're saying I'm powerless to change them because it was someone else's or something else's fault. And the day that we decide to say, I'm 100% responsible for everything in my life, and I'm 100% responsible for everything not in my life, is the day we take our power back and grant ourselves the capacity to change our own life and to change the world. But that's a big ask. And a lot of people really struggle with it. And a lot of people will go no further because they can't take that 100% ownership. So this is a fork in the road moment. And I hope that even if not right in this moment, that over the next few weeks that you can make that decision and choose the right fork, the one that gives you back your power. And so just to use an example, sometimes I think real examples help to illustrate these concepts. So imagine the girl who did the post in the group, who's got the 4-month-old baby and is struggling, doesn't know how they're going to survive the year that she wants to stay at home. Imagine she can choose, let's just use 2 examples of beliefs she can choose. She can choose the belief that she can earn $50,000 a year if she goes back to work and puts her baby in daycare, and that would kind of help them out of their tight situation and take some of the pressure off. And that leads to the thought of, I better phone up the boss and see if I can come back early. And that leads to the mummy guilt and, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I've got to put my 4-month-old baby and I'm so disappointed. I never wanted to do that. And then that just leads to her kind of, moping around and not really being the best version of herself, because now she's feeling like she failed already and the baby's only 4 months old. And that leads to her maybe going back to work or staying in the struggle, and the friction of that is the result, which reinforces her belief that this is her situation and she doesn't have any power to change it, and on we go. Or imagine if she had the belief that she was absolutely capable of learning anything, and that it's just a matter of learning a new way to earn more money, and she could do that from home while she's got her baby at home. And imagine if she believed that if she learned the right thing, she could add an extra $100,000 to her income while she's sitting at home, while she's breastfeeding her baby. And she could be learning about how to create an extra income, and she could do it all in the pockets of time around her brand new bubba. Imagine then she would think, wow, I can't wait to get up in the morning. I can't wait to learn what I need to learn. And when my baby needs me, I'm right here. And when my baby's asleep or playing, then I can just get my learning done. And this is so exciting. And I can't wait. I'm so excited for the future. And now she's just feeling so good and so happy and so hopeful. And that gets her into even more action. And she's so motivated and so inspired to do more and to learn more. And then she starts to see the money coming in as a result of that, because energetically she's magnetic instead of repelling, instead of like, oh, an anxious warrior. She's like, I'm so excited, like, let's go. And the universe, God source, starts to deliver her everything that she needs. And that reinforces her belief that anything is possible and she can completely change her life. And wow, if I can earn 100,000, what if I can earn 200,000? What if I can earn 500,000? What if I can earn 1 million? And on it goes. So we can see that our beliefs are so key. And the most exciting part about this is we choose them. Not that we get to choose them, we already are choosing them. And our current situation, our current bank account is a direct reflection of our beliefs that we have right now. And if we don't like that, guess what? We just get to choose different ones. And then that will change that whole cycle. That will change everything. And so one of the things that's really important to point out is that we have actually 2 bank accounts. We have an emotional bank account and a money bank account, right? And most people think when I have more money in my bank account, I'll feel happier, I'll feel less anxious, I'll believe that I'll have more belief in myself, I'll have more self-confidence, you know, when I've got $100,000 in my bank account, or when I've got $1 million in my bank account. But what people don't realize is that our emotions are a leading indicator, not a lagging indicator. So the financial bank account goes second. So we have to learn to change our emotional bank account and uplift it first, and then the money will come. It doesn't go the other way. We don't get the money and then we start to feel good about everything. And that's probably one of the biggest misunderstandings that people have. And their emotional bank accounts are just depleted all the time, especially around money. And they wonder why no money comes into their physical bank account. Well, it's impossible. So one of the things that's really fun to do is imagine that Warren writes you a $10 million check, signed Warren Black, and you fold it up and you put it into your handbag, and it's post-dated, it's dated out in 6 months' time. But you know that money's going to come into your bank account, right? It's just done. It's all sorted. You've been doing some cool stuff. Boom, that $10 million is coming in June, whatever, July, whatever. Just practice this tomorrow, do this. Just imagine your bank account with $10 million in it, and imagine how differently you look at the world. Imagine how excited you get at the different type of holidays you think about, the different type of houses and real estate you look at the different types of businesses, at the different types of charities, that everything changes. And so the thing is, we have to start thinking at the level that we want to have our bank account first, because that energetically changes all of our thoughts, all of our feelings, all of what we're vibrating. And the world is a reflection of what we vibrate out. That's the only thing that can come back at us, right? And so we're in charge of our vibrations. We choose our thoughts, which create our vibrations, and then create our reality back at us. When we understand this stuff, it's so incredibly powerful, and we have so much power over it. Awesome. Warren, I think you have another call. What time would you want us to wind up tonight?
Well, I'm running my wealth alchemy class for my mystery school in 10 minutes. So I'm good next 2 minutes, but honestly, if you wanted to keep going or had any more to share and people wanted to stay, I don't mind. I'll just jump off and leave you to it. I'm kind of like many males right now. I'm just kind of in the background. No, not really, but.
Well, what's your preference, that we finish off this, or we can continue this next week? Maybe we can do that.
Yeah, well, look, is there more to come? Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, there's more to come. We could keep going until just before 7:30, and we could finish up the call, and then.
I mean, how much more is there to go, would you say?
Oh, we could go forever.
I mean, we could wrap 3 slides in 3 minutes, or we could.
Oh, look, I think finish it off because today can be a good sneak preview. Next week we'll continue with the money code because the word is spreading. There's a lot of women who are like, oh, we wanted to be there because they just found out about it. So in this way, next week you continue with the money flow, give a quick summary of this week, and then the week after we do the second topic and the third one after that. So I can just go for another 10 minutes and then we wind up for next week and hit it hard next week.
Well, what about, and who is up for this, just with what we've been through at the moment, and Warren, I don't know if the recording is going to go out for this
Oh,
one.
absolutely, it's going out, you bet.
Continue, but maybe let's get into the work this week before we all jump back on next week and have a conversation and revisit this stuff. So I think those first couple of things, which are super key because they're the awareness piece, right? Like this is all awareness stuff. So it's like, well, let's stop, pause, do the work and just check in with it. Cause I know Christine, like, I read what you wrote there, like earning money equals abandonment. Like there's just things that you've realized. And this is the stuff. It's like, you know what? We do need to slow down to speed up. So rather than us just like speak at you and go through stuff, like let's work it. Like let's make this series actionable. Let's work together. Let's create the community and the conversation.
I love
because this here is like, I think as you said, Jen, you said magnetic, but it makes me think of magnets. Like it's literally how it works. You have to hold them a certain way for them to actually be able to attract. And honestly, it's just like resistance. And this is kind of the key.
It's so good, honestly. I have just been learning a lot. I just have one question for you, Nicole. I mean, are we woke enough that I can identify as a woman so I can participate?
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, well, here's the thing, Warren. Jen and I are so far removed from the big feminist swing that we actually love having men in our space as well. Yes, we're called Women to Wealth because it's just, we love working with women, but that doesn't discount the men in our lives ever.
Absolutely.
Ever. So we hope they're on listening in the background or even on the screen. It's beautiful.
They better be there. You've got to understand what you're doing and support. I agree. I love it. I love seeing it. I mean, many of my best clients now, women are just taking over in this area because I was saying the other day, but women make better traders than men because they follow rules. And 2 out of every 3 really good traders who come to me who've made money are women. And I'm hoping to get a couple of them speak over this month. And I think one said she will. So it's good.
Yeah, amazing. Can't wait to hear. Okay.
So maybe get some feedback from everyone. Do you all like that plan? Just raise your hand or write the chat if you like Nicole's plan to slow down, give some bit of homework for you to do this week, then turn up next week and go deeper in this. Yeah, look, people everywhere raising their hand. I go very fast, whereas I think a lot of women say to me, we just want to integrate and process. And I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It feels good for me. I think it probably feels good for you too. Hey, Jen.
It's great.
Yeah.
This is like miles better than I thought. I mean, I knew you guys were good, but honestly, I'm just going to tell all the women in my life, you better get here next week.
And you know what? Jen's even got the flu. Just imagine when she's at 100%. She just pure magic.
Oh, to give you an idea of how wonderful women are with this, like women go through childbirth and they stand strong. I remember whenever I got a back injury, and I remember literally this is what my ex-wife said at the time. All she'd say to her kids is, Dad's injured himself. Everyone goes, oh, shit, because they knew that they'd be whinging and whining for next month. They said, we better get him better fast or he's going to make our life misery. So.
Oh, I love you, Warren.
It's true, though.
So true. Okay. Very cool. Well, do we want to wrap it up there and everyone can enjoy a beautiful evening? And then let's...
What's their homework? So what's the actionable steps for everyone to do, Nicole, before next Thursday to turn up and make this month not a Netflix series, but something that's actually going to change people's lives?
Let's do this. You need to understand this concept. Concept 1, concept 2, action 3. The awareness of it, like just let's work out what's going on. Let's dig deeper. And, I know like some women, sometimes it's like, oh, I've done this. I think I've done it, but I don't know. I'm always doing it. Like there's always another limit, another level of potential, another level of possibility. It's like, let's just keep doing this. So what we could do, Warren, you'll probably send out an email, I'm assuming, with this as a recording, which is perfect.
Oh, you bet. No, we're sending out a recording of this email. In fact, one of the things I'm going to start doing in my webinars, and you may or may not want to do it, but one of the things I'm looking at doing is after I do webinars is doing a 5-minute summary or 10-minute summary, quick recording, and send it along with it for those who don't have time to watch the whole thing. But we're definitely sending this out as a recording.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, Grace Ambrook is on. Oh, feels special when Grace is on.
I think everyone's going to be on soon.
Yeah, and what I'll do, Warren, is we'll send you just a couple of notes to maybe pop in the email, just so reminders for everyone. It's like, hey, focus on this week. Let's just do this work. Let's reconnect next week. And
yep. Yeah, give us a set of actionable steps, which we can even do. We send it the replay, you know, like 3 steps, because I'm a big believer now in practical, actionable steps. Like if you saw my task list every day, it's just practical, and it's easy as a man because my life is a series of linear, lawyer-based tunnel vision existence, which drives women nuts, but it works well for business.
Yeah, love that. Yep, sounds like a plan.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and doing this month. I'm excited now, like honestly, like genuinely am, because I can see we've hit a point which really needs to be addressed in society. And I actually agree, like just logically it makes sense to me, but women, you know, and I know that with I see women in my life are amazing. Like I've got friends with single mums, and I watch them and what the sacrifice they give for their kids. And I'm like, yeah, you know, let's see these women be taught how to build incomes while serving in their feminine radiance and build residual incomes, so that when they hit 40, 50, or whenever, they're going to be like not having to think about these kind of things. It's something that's just, this has become my mission as much as yours now. I think it's great.
Yeah, love that. Love linking arms with people like you, Warren.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you to all the women who are here and willing to talk about money, because it's a topic that's kind of like religion and politics, and people like to avoid going there. And it's just so important that we talk about it, because if we don't talk about it, we don't figure it out. And when we talk about it together, we're so powerful in our ability to create change.
Yeah, no, in fact, this is just the last thing I'll mention. That the whole idea of changing your mindset around wealth, it's very, very popular. Like the Alchemy of Wealth is my program I'm running. We've had a lot of interest in that program, and it's all about learning the secrets of the ancients, like in how they thought about money and stuff that, as I told someone the other day, if every single skill was taken out of my brain and I was told I could keep one, it would be on how to create the right mindset around money, because you could lose everything and make it straight back. So I would have it any day.
Yeah. So a couple of the ladies aren't clear on the homework. So really it's take a screenshot or a photo now of those questions and really just dive into finding your answers. And there might not just be a 1-word answer. There might be a whole page for each question as you really explore them and dig deep. So you're digging into the elephant. So that's really, really a homework. And then we'll keep moving forward next week.
Awesome. Looking forward to next week now.
Yeah. Amazing. Thanks, Warren. Thanks, ladies.
Thanks, Nicole.
Jen.
Thanks, Jen.
Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
To kick the habit.